All right, so welcome to today's webinar on improving LTV and post-purchase experience with order tracking. This is really focused on turning your post-purchase experience into revenue. I'm here with Seawill, and my name is Cameron. So I'm from, if you can go to the next slide.
My bad.
I'm from Minion Made here. I'm a project manager at Minion Made, helping Shopify brands improve customer experiences, streamline operations, and unlock growth opportunities through Shopify strategy development and optimization. And I'm here with Michael from Seawill.
Seawill, Quill, either way. So I'm head of growth here, handle partnerships, new business, a few other things. We wear a lot of hats. We've been leaders in global tracking for 12 plus years. So that's what we know best, but are also have a handful of Shopify apps. Most notably, I would say our returns and loyalty solutions. So I'll jump into things. Above all, my opinion is everyone should have an order tracking app. And if you have one already, you might need to give it a little more attention, a little more love. First kind of overarching theme is, sales not over at checkout. If you go to conferences like I do, when they're not talking about AI, they're talking about how important the post-purchase experience is to getting someone to come back. We think so much about acquisition, but sometimes fall short on the post-purchase experience. And one of the most important, if not the most important aspects of the experience after checkout is the delivery. This stat here is something Amazon found, which is that 47% of younger shoppers, so Gen Z, millennials, have abandoned a brand because of a bad delivery experience. And what's even more interesting is that most of them never complain, leave a bad review, contact customer support. They just quietly don't buy from that brand again. So this is kind of what we'll cover today, why order tracking matters, where native tracking falls short. This is mostly in the context of Shopify. I'll explain a little bit about shipping statuses and then talk about where we kind of make the most impact compared to just using Shopify's native tracking components, which would be proactive notifications and branded tracking pages. So why order tracking matters. Like I mentioned, a lot of the time, the native experience with Shopify falls a little short, doesn't quite do the job. And I'm actually going to go back. When customers do not get correct shipping notifications, they tend to create Wizmo inquiries, flood customer support, and are less likely to purchase again. This is kind of repeating what I mentioned before, with the exception of negative reviews and chargebacks. So chargebacks, if a product just takes longer than the customer experience to reach them, most stores end up with customers filing a chargeback with their credit card. You need to then respond to that and try to prove that this product was actually shipped, that they may have received it. That all becomes very challenging without a better dashboard or history record of where a shipment kind of ended up, how it progressed. When you have a smooth post-purchase experience for customers, it drives lifetime value, decreases the time to second purchase for customers. So obviously what we're looking for is repeat orders, higher lifetime value, stronger brand loyalty with an order tracking app. The other piece that I haven't stressed as much is that both shipping notifications and a branded tracking page, which I will get into a little more later, are very significant opportunities for driving additional revenue. Shipping notifications are opened at a much higher rate than marketing emails. So if you can try to upsell in these emails like, hey, your order is shipped, your order's out for delivery today, your order was delivered on the basic level, it actually drives a lot of sales. as does a branded tracking page, which in short is a page on your store that shows all of the tracking history for a customer's order. And you can also advertise other products, do some customer education on it as well, which is not something Shopify really provides out of the box. We tend to see about every 2,000 to 3,000 order lookups, a new sale from a tracking page, and about double that for shipping notifications. So this is super important. Why do you need it? Like, what's wrong with Shopify's native tracking? So the big part is that what Shopify has to do is get a carrier update related to the tracking number attached to its order and accurately determine, okay, based on this update, the language from the carrier's update, what is happening with this shipment? Is it in transit? Is it out for delivery today? Was there a failed delivery attempt? And Shopify doesn't do a great job with that. With major carriers in the US, USPS, FedEx, UPS, it's mostly right. But even then, there are some shipping statuses and types of notifications that you just can't send without an order tracking app just based on what Shopify can do natively. So, this arrow at the bottom is just explaining when you have bad data coming in, the notifications that you've set up that are dependent on Shopify's ability to detect the delivery status, if it's not getting correct data, customers aren't getting those shipping notifications. I bet a lot of you who shop online have had an experience where you don't get accurate shipping notifications or any shipping notifications at all. The reason for this is Shopify's faulty connections with carriers shipping those products. And again, if shipping notifications aren't sending to customers, they're left in the dark. You're flooded with Wismo inquiries, and you're hurting your LTV. Another part of this that I didn't mention is just there's no branded tracking page and there's no early warning system. So a lot of the time, I'll ask a store, hey, when a shipment is delayed, do you tell customers before they tell you? And the answer is almost always no. We just kind of cross our fingers and hope that it goes well. So when there is a problem with a shipment, it could fall into a delivery status we call exceptions, which is basically a catch-all for anything that went wrong, like a concrete update that's saying there was a problem with this order. And it could be as minor as, hey, the truck didn't get from warehouse B to warehouse C in time, so this order is going to be delayed a day. That is actually a type of status that Shopify cannot identify. So this is going back to what I was mentioning before. There are only certain statuses that Shopify can detect and as a result, send an email for. So being able to tell your customers, keep them informed when something actually goes wrong, can allow you to turn a potential churn risk, a problem with a shipment, into a moment to build trust with the customer and even upsell on those additional notifications that you're sending. With the early warning system, this is something that even a lot of order tracking apps can't do, but Quill can, which would look like if your average delivery time in the US is, say, 3.5 days or 4 days, but you do have some orders that take longer. You could set up an automatic notification, whether to the customer, most likely to the customer, or you could do it to your customer support team. As soon as a shipment hits day 6 or day 7, we want to send an email to the customer like, hey, this order is taking a little longer to get to you. We're talking to UPS. Sorry for the inconvenience. Don't worry, it's still on its way. Here's 10% off anything else you want from the store while we sort this out for you. And that type of notification, which is basically a lack of update, there's no way to send that with just Shopify's native notifications. Lastly, no brand tracking page. I'm going to keep hammering this home, but not being able to direct customers back to your store from shipping notifications is a huge missed opportunity. Most shipping notifications, the way they send out is there will be a link to track your order, and it will either take them to the carrier's website where they check the tracking details, or sometimes to like the Shopify order page, which is buried in the account, where you don't have that much flexibility as to what to really display. On that point, the order tracking traffic is, again, a very kind of high touch, opportune moment to actually upsell. There's no reason that this customer, this traffic that you fought hard to get, should be sent off to a carrier's website. So again, the fix, have a page on your store, a branded tracking page where they see all of the history of the tracking, they get all the tracking updates, and see more information from your store, other products as well. When I tend to talk about order tracking, I usually am met with two main types of responses. The first is like, oh, snap, we actually get a lot of Wismo inquiries. We have issues with shipping notifications. This is a problem. The other type, though, which is a little more common, is something along the lines of, you know, like we get very few customers reaching out asking about their order. 97% of our shipments arrive on time. My WMS has good tracking data in there, so if I need to look into shipments, I can, you know, just pop in there. I think we're good on order tracking. What I tend to surface is the following questions. So that 3% of orders, Mr. Logistics Operations Manager, the 3% that don't get there on time, what happens? Again, do you ask customers if a package is, or I should say, if a package is going to be delayed? Do you tell customers before they tell you? And the answer is almost always no. If a order, say, has a tracking number that just stops getting updates for a number of days, and you've got a customer likely checking the tracking, seeing no progress on it, do you reach out and tell them, hey, looks like UPS stopped updating your tracking number. We're looking into it. Hang tight. You know, here's some other products you might be interested in. We appreciate you. And lastly, how much revenue are you bringing in from shipping notifications and a branded tracking page? They often don't even have a branded tracking page, so that opens a conversation of, well, how much could we be bringing in with a branded tracking page, and why don't we have one? So even if you don't think there's a problem with Wismo or customer communications, it can be improved. And if an order tracking app is affordable, there's no reason not to get one. Two statuses I mentioned before, exceptions and failed attempts. These are really important to get at these moments to contact customers. A failed attempt, you can intuit what that is. It is when the carrier tries to deliver a package, but the customer wasn't there. They couldn't get access to the building, whatever it may be. So they will reattempt to deliver that product. But we need to make sure the customer is aware that they are going to reattempt, because if every carrier is different, but it's usually 2 or 3 failed attempts before they are just going to send it back to the store. That's expensive for you. Customer's probably going to be dissatisfied, and you're going to eat the cost of an extra shipment, which for some stores, it's like half or all of their margin on the product. And again, Shopify natively does not have a way to send emails for failed attempts or exceptions. So I also want to touch on info received. This is a delivery status when a tracking number has been created, but the carrier hasn't actually scanned it. The reason this matters so much is so many stores there that have problems with Wismo inquiries happen here. It's not during the actual journey, the transit. It's that they print a shipping label and then it doesn't actually ship for 2 days. So the customer, as soon as that tracking number is attached to the order, when the shipping label is created, customer gets a notification like, hey, your thing is shipped. And then there's no movement for 2 days. That leads to the customer being confused, reaching out. So what you're able to do with an order tracking app like ours is, maybe if it goes 1 day or 2 days, still an info received, send them a notification saying something like, hey, your order is still being prepared, or the carrier is about to pick up your package soon. We're just waiting for them. Hang tight. Sorry for the delay. So we're both cutting down on wisdom inquiries and even telling or helping customers feel taken care of. Proactive notifications. I've touched on this again. I've touched on this before. So again, it's just, hey, we're getting out in front of it. We're talking to you before there's a problem that you're even aware of. Standard notifications tend to just be a milestone, what we call milestone notifications. So it goes from in transit to out for delivery, goes from out for delivery to delivered. Again, the proactive notifications are based on a lack of that progress. Stalled shipment alerts are what I mentioned before of a tracking number not getting updates, and a transit alert, basically transit delay is what we call it, is it's just gone past a certain number of days that we consider concerning. And you can differentiate this based on the country. If we know our average delivery time is this for the US, but if we're sending to Europe, it usually takes this much time on average. You can differentiate that. One thing you can also do, kind of mentioned this before, but if you're not comfortable with the idea of sending these directly to customers, you could decide to just have them send internally to your customer support. I worked with an underwear brand, like premium, expensive underwear, where they have close relationships with their customers. So they don't want them getting an automated email. They wanted to get the email themselves and then actually call the customers and have a conversation with them. That's basically it on shipping notifications. Want to touch on the branded tracking page. Again, this is a page on your store where they can see the progress of the shipment and other products advertised. Some percentage of that tracking traffic will purchase again. Again, concept is keep the traffic on your store, stop gifting it to USPS or whoever it may be. Recommend other products and get a full history of the checkpoint, each update from the carrier. Want to mention, this is useful even if your store has like 100, 200 orders a month. Far more useful and crucial if you're having thousands of orders a month, and whatever the state is right now in order tracking, this gets just amplified. Any potential problems exacerbate during high season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're in August, something to start thinking about now. You'll see higher WSMO inquiries. Carriers take longer to deliver packages during high season, and loyalty can effectively be made or lost. Again, bad shipping experience leads to customer churn, and you're most vulnerable during these high seasons. So try to keep them in the know. Another thing that order tracking apps do deliver is really good analytics around shipping performance. So that can be broken down by carrier, by country, even by state, to help you better understand any problems with shipping. If we need to consider using a new 3PL because they're taking too long to fulfill these orders, need to renegotiate these SLAs, or just maybe we need a different carrier for a certain route. Really important. And like in some WMSs, you can get similar analytics, but this lives within Shopify, super easy to navigate. Again, what we're trying to do is help you be more proactive, strategic around all things shipping, identifying, like I mentioned, slow lanes, any routes where you're having too many problems or countries, and select a carrier that actually works for you. One example, a store I recently worked with sells supplements, they're like drinks that you take with supplements and vitamins. They were having an issue where their carrier was often not scanning packages throughout the journey consistently. And the carrier scan is how that tracking update actually gets pushed to the carrier and then eventually to us. So what we did was we set up a stalled notification email, and it decreased. So we just said, if a package goes 3 days without any tracking updates, send the customer an email saying, hey, USPS has not been updating your tracking number. We're sorry about it. We're keeping an eye on it. If you already got the product, let us know. Apologies for the inconvenience. Not only did it decrease Wismo inquiries, but they actually started getting emails from customers like, oh my God, thank you for letting me know. This is such good customer service. It also took almost no time for these results to happen. I put 30 days here. It was probably more like 10. The only work was setting up a Klaviyo flow with this trigger and getting it running. So within about 10 days, but they were kind of slow with getting the Klaviyo up and running. So about 30 days. Again, this is kind of the full process. If you're getting bad data from Shopify, Shopify's not getting data from the carrier, your customers are in the dark and they will churn. These same questions I mentioned before, I invite you to ask yourself with orders that don't get to the customer on time, what happens? What is the strategy? Have you evaluated, like, are they less likely to buy from me again? Do we have any data around that? Again, with those delays, are you telling customers about them before they tell you? If not, why not? Do you have any notifications for orders that do not get updates for too long or stay in info received, just the fulfilled state for too many days? And then lastly, what revenue are you getting from order tracking traffic and shipping notifications? So if you can't answer all four of these confidently, please talk to me. I would love to help. Last kind of slide here, I'm going to really talk about key takeaways. So visibility and trust, proactive communications, build trust with customers, and drive loyalty and even short-term second purchases. Notify them when nothing's happening, own your traffic, and your data protects you against chargebacks. This is the name of our app, Quill Order Tracking. We provide real-time order tracking for over 1,600 carriers around the world. So if you're shipping internationally, that is huge. And again, a branded tracking page. If you want to see this in action, I'm happy to meet with you, provide a free audit, and you don't need to sign up for anything. You just install the app. We go through all of your data, and I'll point out, what's good, what's bad. Or you're welcome to start a free trial if this was very convincing. Please let me know, and we'll get you on a free trial. Again, no commitment. Also can build an ROI calculator for you. You just tell me how many orders you have, Wismo inquiries, AOV, and I'll calculate your potential savings, revenue, and kind of the impact on the customer service side. That is it. Thank you. Hopefully that was helpful.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Really insightful presentation, and wow, a very powerful app that can be used for order tracking. I want to introduce the Minion team. So we are Minion Made, and we're a team of strategists, developers, and designers helping you grow your Shopify brand. Let's go to the next slide. And our process goes through a number of steps to help you get to success. We start with an onboarding call. We have a teamwork dashboard. We set up a project roadmap and think of meetings as on demand, giving you access to help when you need it and offering you real-time feedback. Next slide. And we help Shopify brands in a number of different ways. So Shopify development, conversion optimization, store redesign, systems integrations. We do a lot of custom app development and offering ongoing support. And so I'd love to invite you to schedule a strategy session with us. You can head over to minionmade.com/contact, where we'll take a look at your store. We'll look at the highest impact opportunities and build your roadmap for growth in 2026. And I want to thank you for attending this webinar and learning a little bit about Quill's order tracking and how Minion Made can support your store. And so thanks again for joining us today, and check out the order tracking app and schedule time with us to chat through growth in 2026.